What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's Senju Sage, and today we will be hopping into another versus battle. Specifically, we will be doing Jiraiya versus Orochimaru. Now, this battle is very interesting because there's a lot of abilities, that need to be taken into account for, but it's actually a pretty one-sided battle in my opinion. So, without further ado, let me guys show you my opinions and all that, and let's hop into it. Now, right off the bat, we're going to cite the feat that most people cite when talking about this versus battle, which is the Four Tails version of Naruto. It is shown to us that Jiraiya, who is trying to train up Naruto, Kid Naruto specifically, is unable to suppress Naruto and actually almost dies while trying to do so. Eventually, he's able to seal away the Four Tails, but he takes a big shot to the chest and almost dies while doing this task. Now, let me remind you, this is Kid Naruto. His body is barely able to handle the Four Tails, and it's surprising that he didn't even die while doing this. So this is the weaker version of the Four Tails that we're shown to in Part 2, Shipton, which is used against Orochimaru. Now, that version of the Four Tails is supremely strong, pulls out, like, beast bombs and all this, and is able to last a very long time until he is eventually suppressed by, Sakura and all of them, Yamato. But initially, during his fight with Orochimaru, he pulls out all the stops and literally just tries to murder Orochimaru. The version that was used against Jiraiya is severely weaker, and is still able to body Jiraiya in, like, one shot and almost takes him out for good. Meanwhile, Orochimaru over here is going toe-to-toe with, like, a stronger, like, really strong version of the Four Tails, and Orochimaru is just able to go, like, head-to-head with him. Both of his arms were sealed during this fight, by the way. So this man wasn't even able to use most of his jutsu that he had learned over the past couple years. So he was just going toe-to-toe with this Ninetales who, was able to, like, pull out full-on beast bombs and all this crap, and Orochimaru was just laughing him off. That's what's crazy to me. This man has his hands sealed and is going up against the Four Tails version of Naruto and is laughing. He's just laughing him off like he's nothing. Originally, he was fighting the Three Tails and said that it was unimpressive. This man was fighting a Three Tails and said that it was unimpressive. I just think it's funny that this man's was, laughing off of Four Tails and calling the Three Tails unimpressive. Meanwhile, Jiraiya is getting bodied by the Four Tails and is on the verge of death. Now, the next feat I want to jump into is the fact that Jiraiya was already proven to be able to go hand-to-hand with Jiraiya while his hands were sealed. This man was able to go toe-to-toe, hand-to-hand. He was able to fight Jiraiya while his hands were sealed, which just really shows, how impressive he really is, Orochimaru, that he's able to just go hand-to-hand with this Jiraiya, even though both of his arms are sealed and he's unable to use most of the jutsu that he had learned, just like his hands were sealed against that Naruto that we had mentioned earlier. This battle takes place during the search for Tsunade arc, and after they find Tsunade and all that, trying to get her to join their side and all that. But the counter argument for this is that Jiraiya was heavily drugged by Tsunade or whatever. But this drugging happened a while ago. This man was just suffering the small effects from it. I guess he had just woken up. I mean, it's not like he was out of it or anything. So a lot of people use that counter argument, but there are a lot of flaws with it. Plus, Orochimaru's hands were sealed, okay? At least this man could still use jutsu, not Orochimaru, but Jiraiya could still use jutsu. Orochimaru couldn't barely do that, and his arms were sealed and all that. So I guess, I don't know what's more suppressive. The fact that this man had his hands sealed, or that Jiraiya was, he had a little bit of drugs in him. I guess he got Bill Cosby by Tsunade. That's his fault. But it just goes to show how strong Orochimaru really is, that he was able to go hand-to-hand with Jiraiya, even though his hands were sealed, and I guess the counter-argument for this is that Jiraiya was drugged, even though he was just suffering the after effects. Another feat that's impressive to me by Orochimaru was that he was able to summon 3 Rashomon while low on chakra reserves against that Four Tails Naruto. Meanwhile, Sakon and Yukon, using Curse Mark 2, had to work together to just summon one. Just really shows how much chakra, like, this man's really has. This man was able to summon 3 Rashomon, the little shield gates or whatever, while low on chakra. And Sakon Yukon, using Curse Mark 2, had to work together to summon one. This just really attests, how much chakra and how powerful his chakra is, and how strong Orochimaru is just on his own. And it's just, crazy to me how powerful Orochimaru really is. Now, another feat that is shown is that during their original battle, the aforementioned one that I had just mentioned, it is shown that Orochimaru's summon Manda is stronger than Gamabunta, which is Jiraiya's main summon. Now, of course, Jiraiya has a couple more summons that he's able to use, but we're going to hop into that later. We're going to mention that later, but for now, Manda, their 2 main summons. Manda is just overpowering Gamabunta. That was shown during the fight that Gamabunta got bodied. It took both Tsunade's summon and it took both Tsunade's summon and Jiraiya's summon to take down Manda, and they had to, tag team WWE this man's just to take him down. Meanwhile, just on his own, Gamabunta puts up no fight against Manda. It's not even close. Another thing that was mentioned was that the third Hokage states that Orochimaru is the strongest out of the 3 Sannin, and even admits that Orochimaru had surpassed him. Now, the counter-argument to this is that, of course, this was mentioned while, the third Hokage, Hiruzen was, he was Hokage, and he was selecting the next Hokage, who that was going to be, and he mentions this fact. Now, this was a while ago, but it still just goes to show how strong that Orochimaru was, that back then, even then, he was stronger than Hiruzen. Granted, this was not Hiruzen in his prime. He wasn't, super past his prime, and Hiruzen is said to be, the strongest of the Hokage minus Naruto, so it's insane to think about that this young of an Orochimaru had already surpassed Hiruzen, and was stated to be stronger than the 3 Sannin. Now, over the next couple of years, there's not a lot is shown that, Jiraiya has surpassed Orochimaru to begin with. I mean, Jiraiya spent most of his time, he just, dipped the village, kind of went on a search for his own and all that. Wasn't really improving his abilities, just, looking for women and all this, being his pervy self. Meanwhile, Orochimaru is, experimenting in crap, trying to make a new jutsu, trying to learn all of the jutsu and become immortal. So there's nothing really, to show that Jiraiya had, surpassed Orochimaru. So it kind of just, shows that Orochimaru is still stronger, if not even stronger, I don't even know how to describe it, just he's just completely surpassed Jiraiya at this point. And when I say stronger, I don't mean power or necessarily, I just mean better, if that makes sense. But it just goes to show that, he is able to do all this stuff. Now, during this versus battle, we're assuming that Orochimaru's hands aren't sealed, so he is able to use all his jutsu that he learned. So it just makes those feats that he did without his hands even more impressive. But like I said, third Hokage said that he had surpassed him, and he said that he was the strongest of the 3 Sannin. Orochimaru proves this during that same, battle with Tsunade and Jiraiya, and he's able to, stand his ground without using the both of his hands. In fact, he's confident during that battle, so it just goes to show how strong he really is, how powerful he is. Now, I'm not going to debate this, but Sage Mode Jiraiya is definitely stronger. So we're getting to Sage Mode Jiraiya. Sage Mode Jiraiya is definitely stronger than Orochimaru. I'm not even going to try and argue that. Sage Mode Jiraiya is just flat out stronger. And another thing was, he was able to put up a fight against Pain without perfect Sage Mode, and he was trying to figure out Pain's ability. So during his entire fight with Pain, my man's Jiraiya was, he was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. Eventually he did in the end, but throughout the fight, my man's is just trying to figure out, who he's fighting. He doesn't even know any of this man's abilities. He's going in blind. and he was able to put up a good fight for a little while, and then he just got bodied. It was kind of sad when he died. Rip Jiraiya. But while he was alive, he was able to put up a good fight against Pain, and that's just it's impressive that he was able to do that without knowing anything about this man's at all. So yes, I would say Sage Mode Jiraiya is stronger than Orochimaru, no debate, no question. But the thing that evens it out is that Orochimaru has the 8-headed serpent jutsu. Now, this 8-headed serpent jutsu is really underrated because we don't really get to see it a lot, and one of the main times that we do see it, it's like one-shotted by Itachi. But that's because Itachi had the Totsuka blade. You know what I mean? This man had the Totsuka blade, which is described as a one-shot, non-physical sword. This weapon just it's one shot. Plus Itachi had the Yata mirror. Like it's not fair how this man's got bodied. It was completely unfair that this 8-headed serpent was able to get bodied by a one-shot weapon. In fact, the 8-headed serpent was able to rock Itachi Susanoo. Orochimaru was confident enough to pull out of Sasuke, not like that, no homo. He was able to get out of, Sasuke and he was like, you know what? I didn't see this man says to Susanoo. Let me pull out my 8-headed serpent. And he's confident enough to, go out there, and then he gets one-shotted, which is completely unfair. But it just goes to show how strong his 8-headed serpent jutsu is, that he's able to just rock Itachi Susanoo. And me personally, I believe if this man's, if Itachi didn't have a one-shot sword, that was completely unfair. Orochimaru would have won. I believe he could have, just gone out there and bodied. It would have been kind of crazy if he used that 8-headed serpent jutsu. That it's really underrated how powerful it is, and just against it kind of evens out Sage Mode. I mean, we are told that Orochimaru was able to, he was trying to study Sage Mode and learn all that, but his body was too imperfect. But he found a way to, get a little bit of that natural, chakra and all that, the nature chakra, get it all in. So he's able to get a little bit. Plus, he's able to use the 8-headed serpent jutsu. So I believe this makes him, if not more powerful, even with Jiraiya. Jiraiya using Sage Mode. Another thing is their speed. So, I think Orochimaru is faster than Sage Mode Jiraiya. So, the thing is, one of the Paths of Pain was able to speed blitz this Jiraiya, Sage Mode Jiraiya. He's imperfect Sage Mode Jiraiya, of course. And Naruto was able to speed blitz that same path. The only difference is Naruto was perfect. And it just goes to show how much that difference between perfect and imperfect really is. The fact that this man was able to get blitzed and that Naruto was to blitz that same Path of Pain is just really crazy that he was able to do that, and it just goes to show the speed difference. And the fact that Orochimaru was able to keep up with the Four Tails, like speed blitz this man, it's not fair. So I would say, Orochimaru kind of takes the cake there in speed, but I'm not, like I said, not going to argue. Jiraiya is definitely stronger. Another thing is Orochimaru is stronger. He's stated to be stronger than Snake Kabuto when he was able to while he was able to summon and control thousands of reincarnated shinobi, including the Kage. So this Kabuto, the Snake Kabuto, War Art Kabuto, not Sage Mode Kabuto, but War Art Kabuto, he was able to reanimate all these people and control all of them, and he's still said to be weaker than Orochimaru. That's kind of crazy, but it's true because it was said. Facts. So that Kabuto is said to be weaker than Orochimaru. Another thing is, Orochimaru was able to 1v1 Hiruzen. Of course, Hiruzen was out of his prime. He was just, poor Hiruzen, old man Hiruzen. He was out of his prime and all that. But Orochimaru was still able to body him. He was able to use the reanimation, brought back the first and the second to body this man. Almost brought back the fourth, too. Almost brought back Minato, but wasn't able to. So, poor Hiruzen. Now, Hiruzen, like I said, was out of his prime, even though he is said to be the strongest Hokage, minus Naruto. He is the strongest Hokage minus Naruto. But even though he was out of his prime, he was supposed to be the strongest out of the 5 Kage. So the current Kage, those Kage alive, all the Kage who were alive, Hiruzen is said to be the strongest, and Orochimaru was able to, body this man. Of course, he got Reaper Death Sealed, which is not fun, but he was able to body. So, in conclusion, if you couldn't tell by the facts that I gave, Orochimaru wins. It's just, it's kind of blunt, Orochimaru kind of bodies. It's kind of unfair. Poor Jiraiya. I mean, sure, it's hard to make an argument for Jiraiya. There's not a lot of feats that he shows that can be, better than Orochimaru. I mean, he has Ma and Pa, which can, continually give him Senju, but that's, unfair because he's getting assistance. But that's like having other shinobi help you out during a battle. That's like if I say, Orochimaru has Kabuto. That's kind of what that is. So, without Manpa, he gets bodied. With Manpa, he still gets bodied because if we're counting that, Orochimaru can use reanimation. And, who's going to win? Sage Mode Jiraiya with Ma and Pa, or Orochimaru, 8-headed Orochimaru with the first, second, and if you can pull it off, the 4th Hokage. Like Tobirama, Hashirama, Minato versus Sage Mode Jiraiya. This man couldn't take on the 6 Paths of Pain. So, yeah. It's not looking good for Jiraiya. Anyways, that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Make sure you share the video. If you guys want more versus battle, leave a comment down below. Like I said, like the video. I'll be dropping another video very soon, if not tomorrow, sometime this week. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Like I said, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and all that. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.